What's good, people? This is Nitro back at it again with the fighting game reviews, and this time we've got BlazBlue Chrono Phantasma Extend for Steam. This is the 6th iteration of BlazBlue, which is Arc System Works' little pet fighting game project that they made when they lost the rights to Guilty Gear. That was about, what, 8 years ago? Damn, I feel old. Anyway, they started with Calamity Trigger, added a bunch of new characters, came out with a new version every year or so, redid the fighting game engine entirely a couple of times, and here you have it! The latest in the BlazBlue home experience. Well, until Central Fiction comes out later this year anyway for consoles. Speaking of consoles, if you've got the console version of this game, before we go any further, it's pretty much no different here. You already know what to expect. The lobby mode's a bit simpler, like what they did with Guilty Gear Xrd, and well, they added a Chrono Phantasma mode for those of you who want to play the original Chrono Phantasma for some reason. And that's pretty much it. There's really nothing more that you need to know about this game if you have it already. Oh, by the way, there's no crossplay for the console versions, and I did experience a little bit of slowdown while I was playing. Could be my machine, I might be going crazy, but it was there, so your mileage may vary. Buyer beware. Alright, now that that's done with, let's get to talking about the graphics. Now, if you've played, seen, or somehow otherwise visually experienced BlazBlue at all during the past 8 years of its existence, then, well, it's pretty much the same thing here. You got your high-res sprites, 3D model backgrounds, you know, the whole hand-drawn anime kind of thing going on. Standard stuff. Nothing is really gonna blow you away, but hey, come on. Fighting games are about the style, not the graphics, right? And as for content, well, you'll find no lack of it here, which is something I can really appreciate for a fighting game released in 2016. Anyway, the BlazBlue series has spent a pretty decent amount of time world building and crafting a story, and it throws a ton of it at you here. It's like a visual novel at some parts, it's your classic dialogue before a match in others, and it's a whole lot of different storylines to follow. Honestly, it's a bit overwhelming at times, but if you're invested in the characters, you get a sizable return on that investment. Who says nobody cares about the story in fighting games? Looking for an arcade mode? Well, you'll find it here. About 5 different flavors of it too, with a bunch of interesting and or challenging twists on the staple. Like fight a bunch of stupidly overpowered boss-made versions of the characters called Unlimited. Fun times. Like I said, the lobby system's a little pared down from the console versions, but overall, it's decent. There's up to 8 player lobbies. You can customize your little chibi avatar and walk around fully little customizable rooms. It's a really nice touch, actually. Netcode is passable. It's playable online, but you will definitely feel that input lag. You can record your matches locally. Well, by playing the game, you earn points that you can spend on extra content, like things to customize your little lobbies, and my personal favorite, the original BlazBlue soundtracks from earlier games are unlockable. Now, BlazBlue has always had some pretty solid soundtracks, and I'm sure there's some of you out there that might disagree with me, but the new remixes are pretty hit or miss. And for me, it's mostly miss. At any rate, it's great to see the customizable options and the variety that they added to the game with the extra content. From a gameplay perspective though, can't be quite so nice. I assume all the long-time BlazBlue players have probably left already, so I gotta be perfectly honest with you. If you're new to this series, it's gonna be really difficult for you to get a handle on this game. I mean, from what I can tell, it's pretty well balanced. One of the major draws to the BlazBlue series in general has always been how unique each character is, because there's a built-in button for them to do unique things. It was called the drive button. But anyway, learning any character, never mind the whole cast, is a hugely daunting task. Most of the really effective combos require pretty tight execution. Most of your optimal stuff is really situational. And there's just a huge amount of things that you gotta learn before you can even consider yourself half decent in this game. Let me tell you a little story about fighting games. When you follow the series for a really long time, well, I don't want to say really, that just makes me sound even older. I'm just a no-90. But anyway, you tend to find a cycle of how these games go if it goes on for long enough. You see, they start off pretty simple with a small cast, easy to pick up, and then gradually the companies behind them just add more characters and more content and more refinement, more complicated interactions, and it's all cool until it gets to a point where if you haven't been following along the whole time, it becomes ridiculously difficult to make sense of it. And then they basically reboot the series to help bring the newcomers back in, and the cycle pretty much continues on from there. This series hasn't been reset yet, and ArcSys knows what it is. To their credit, they give you a lot of tools to try to help you get a grasp on things. The tutorials give you great tips on how to play characters. The training and the challenges will teach you some pretty effective combos, and there's a lot of useful features for it, like audio cues for your button presses in challenge mode, which was one of the coolest things that I found in that sort of training environment. Basically, it'll give you little audio cues to try to help you get the button timing down for when you press specific buttons during points in the combo. It's pretty helpful. I found it incredibly useful. They even try to help you get back into the lore if you got lost, which is probably going to happen, with this little cute chibi segment called Teach Me Miss Lychee. But ultimately, while these things definitely help, it's still a really hard game to get into, which brings me to a pretty interesting conundrum with this game. It's pretty good, don't get me wrong. For what it does what it does well. It's BlazBlue, it's pretty much more of the same, and if you like BlazBlue, then you'll like this game, but here's the problem. If you like BlazBlue, then, well, you probably already have this game. It came out on PS3, PS4, and Vita a year ago. I did forget to mention that the Steam version does come with some extra DLC, but I don't know if that justifies the $30 price point for somebody who already has this game. And if you're new to BlazBlue, or haven't played any of the new versions in like the past 5 years or so like me, good luck, buddy. And if you're new to fighting games, forget about it. You'd be way better served going for an easier title to pick up. This is a really solid port, don't get me wrong, but as a game itself, it's a bit inaccessible for a newcomer. I wouldn't recommend this for beginners, and not really anybody who hasn't been following BlazBlue this whole time. That said, hopefully in the future, ArcSys brings out the PC version a lot hotter on the heels of the console version, because as it is now, a year late, I have no idea who I'd recommend this to. And that's a damn shame. So what do you think of BlazBlue? Let us know in the comments below. And if you like what you see, please give us a like and subscribe to our channel. And as always, thanks for watching. This is Nitro from the Outerhaven.net, and I'll see you soon. Peace.
Oh my God, you have no idea how long it took me to do that.